Hello and welcome everyone to episode 54 of the 120 Days of Movie podcast. This is Chuck.
This is Daniel.
This is Brandon.
Yeah, and we watched Halloween from 1978 by John Carpenter, who directed, scored, and co-wrote this movie with, what's her name? I have it written down. Deborah Hill.
I think.
Yes. And yeah, it's one of our first Halloween movies that we're doing for this month. So, and it has to be appropriate. That it is literally called Halloween.
Yeah.
We have made this the last scary movie we did for October because it's called Halloween.
Maybe, but it's a good start. It's a good start though.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
Iconic.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe we
I'm
had
with
to
you.
watch the most recent Halloween as the end.
Oh, okay. So it's Halloween month, literally.
Yeah, we only watch the
Ooh.
Halloween movies. There's like 12 of them, I think.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and there's like I think Rob Zombie directs like 3 of them, and everyone says like those are like the worst. Like it's like, and there's also like multiple timelines. It's a very confusing story.
Okay. Have you seen those?
The Rob Zombie ones, yes, I think I saw the first 2, and I really did not like them.
Maybe we can talk as time goes on. We can talk about it because this is my first Halloween movie I'd seen. I think certainly it was the
Okay.
first one I sat and watched all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an impression what people hated about the Rob Zombie ones. Maybe you can explain that to me after the fact, because I don't know. I'd like to understand what sets this movie apart from the others.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about that. So yeah, let me kind of just give a plot synopsis for Halloween. We're just gonna talk about spoilers. If you haven't seen Halloween, just watch it. If you're not, also I feel like this is not a movie you can spoil. Like this is just a typical slasher. Like you can close your eyes and
everybody
kind of
knows.
yeah, and you can like kind of know what's gonna happen. So yeah, the story is just about a guy named Michael Myers who kills his sister when he's like 11 or 9 years old or something, and he's kind of put like in a psychiatric ward, and then he escapes one day, and then he goes back to his old neighborhood, and he like targets another babysitter, like babysitters like his sister once was, and yeah, that's just kind of the whole movie. Like he just kind of targets them, and the main actress is Lauren, and she's played by Jamie Lee
Laurie.
Curtis. Yeah, Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's kind of just like one of those first slashers. Like I think this is also one of John Carpenter's first movies. Definitely, yeah, definitely before The Thing. I know it's funny because they show the kids watching the original Thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess I figured that out when I was watching, but that was funny because I'm sure it's everyone, a modern audience watches it and goes, haha, that's funny. John Carpenter putting a reference to one of his other big movies. But he's not. It's like whatever the 50s version of the thing.
Yeah, I think it was something that he was inspired by, and then I think he was so inspired by it that he like made the remake.
Yeah, it's clearly he had some love for it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is kind of just like I said, like a classic slasher. There's a lot of things that people like about Michael Myers compared to other slashers. They like that, or like serial killer, whatever characters, like the fact that he's very slow and methodical. The fact that he's kind of immortal, I guess. And also like the people love his mask. That's another big thing that they really enjoy about the Halloween series. Which fun fact?
It is a good look.
Yeah, and it's William Shatner's face.
Is that true? Is that what
that is true?
Wow.
Yeah, it's from Kirk from Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Yeah, and they spray painted the hair.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's very weird.
Yeah, because you do take it for granted. Like all these like horror icons now, like you take for granted. Like Jason's got the hockey mask. Michael Myers has the I didn't realize it was a William Shatner mask. This sort of nondescript man mask.
Mhm.
But watching the movie, it's pretty fucking scary. It's a pretty brilliant idea, actually. It's so bizarre that it's like this. It's just like he's not wearing a clown mask. He's not wearing a werewolf mask. He's just wearing like a dude. Like it's just a really
Yeah.
weird look. It's very odd.
Mhm. Yeah, and,
And-
and the other interesting thing that is kind of covered is like how he looks normal under the mask anyway. He's not like hiding any like like disfigurement or
Mm.
anything. Like he's just a normal guy. Like when Laurie like takes off the
Wait,
mask, like all. What were you gonna say?
What's up?
No, yeah, I was gonna say, what wasn't he? Wasn't he like burned or something?
No,
think
his
his-
eye was poked out, but his eye was poked out because of what Laurie did just before that.
Oh, because to me, like it looked like his face was disfigured, but I guess that was the eye.
Yeah, no, they wanted to make him look like a normal guy underneath there. Maybe they should have done that before his eye got stabbed, but yeah, that's a common thing with this movie is like they were kind of I think they regretted doing that just because people were like, "Oh, he is disfigured under there," but I think John Carpenter wanted to show like, "Oh, it's a normal guy."
Oh,
It
okay.
also maybe would have. This is not your earlier point, Chuck, but just this maybe leads into a little bit of some of my criticisms of the movie that we'll get to eventually. But it's like they maybe also could have done it earlier, not just to demonstrate, no, look, he's definitely a normal looking guy, but also it all just happens really quick at the end that she takes off his mask, and as she takes off his mask, is also when we learn that he's sort of actively trying to hide himself, like so much so that he lets go of her and pulls the mask down. You know, it's just sort of a lot to put it on an audience. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have sort of given us that hint ahead of time that he would try to hide his face, so it's a little more satisfying when Laurie pulls it up. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to just it kind of happening out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's a nice touch to his character though. I do like the fact that like he is conscious of his like self-conscious of his face for some reason.
Oh yeah, definitely. I guess I think there's elements of this movie that I think this is like maybe blasphemous to say, but there's some specific elements of this movie that I could have been presented a little better.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. Especially for like, this is definitely not as gory as like the other ones around this time as well. They really didn't like. They didn't use as much blood as I imagined.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, it's like a really stripped down sort of thriller in a lot of ways, in a great way. And yeah, I mean, the most. I mean, yeah, there's not a lot of blood that I can think of either. Like, probably the most explicitly kind of violent scene is when he kills the like the boyfriend, like one of the girl's boyfriends,
yeah.
and he like hangs him up on the pantry. Like
Oh
that,
yeah.
like that's kind of the one moment that is like sort of over the top. Like it's like, okay, this is like the rest of it's all pretty, it's explicit, but it's all pretty subdued. Like he strangles someone, he slits someone's throat, but we really don't see blood. Like, yeah, it's all pretty cut and dry. No pun intended.
Yeah. No, like it's done in a weirdly classy way. I don't know if that I don't know if classy is the right word, but maybe like in a like you said, a subdued way.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I also
it's
do love how. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian. No, please go ahead.
No, I was just gonna because it was gonna change, like kind of change it. So
That's
you
fine.
finish the thought for. I was just gonna say I like the aspect of. Oh shit!
Hey, no cursing. No, okay, hey, whoa, no cursing.
Are we not cursing anymore? Yeah, watch
no, you
it.
can curse, just not specifically Brendan.
See what I'm saying?
Oh, I see.
I was just gonna say I like the whole like immortal aspect about his character, just because like I don't know, it adds like especially like the last scene where okay he just took all those bullets, you expect him to die, and then he's just not there in the frame anymore.
That's terrifying. That's
Yeah, that
honestly
is just,
so
like,
scary.
It adds to the whole horror element, and I guess it led to a legend being made up until even now.
Yeah.
Don't.
I wish it's just like an impossible thing, but it would have been so great to have seen this movie without like if we had been watching this in 1978 with no expectation. Because now it's like well they made 13 movies. Michael Myers
Yeah.
Yeah,
is in
that's
the
true.
top. He's like this mythical, like there's this supernatural element. But like that first seeing it for the first time when she because first she stabs him with a like a sewing needle and he goes down.
Mhm.
But I think even if you didn't know he was like basically immortal, that's a little suspect. That's a little too easy. But then after the closet scene, which is pretty incredible by the way, what does she do? She stabs him. Like she straight up
Mhm.
stabs him. And it's the incredible shot of her in the doorway and he sits up behind her, which I feel like has become iconic. But just that moment, you have to imagine people who've been losing their minds as he just sits up and quietly walks behind her. It's like sort of interesting that it's hard to recapture that, now that we know that there's however many Halloween movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious how. I don't know anyone who watched it in theaters to ask them like the reaction.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have
Our
to get someone
grandparents.
who, yeah, right. You'd have to ask someone. It would have to really, most realistically, be someone who like you wouldn't necessarily want to show this to like a little kid, but someone who maybe isn't aware of like how iconic the Halloween franchise is.
Yeah.
Unless they like truly were like, nah, that was really low key. We had some pretty horrible stuff, like blah blah blah.
Wait, for what?
What do you mean?
I don't even know what I mean.
Blah, blah,
Like I don't know. Like I feel like they would just like hate on it for like no reason. Like back in my people hate people on our day like hate hate on specific movies for no reason.
So you're saying somebody at the time, like if someone was watching it in '78, they would feel that way?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there are people that didn't like it. In fact, it's easy enough to look like was the critical reception. It was kind of mixed for this movie, wasn't it? I think I saw that somewhere.
No, I think it was like very positive. It also did really well in the box office.
Yeah, I do remember you telling me that, which explains why.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know if we brought it up, and we brought it up after rolling. But the budget was $300K, and then it made $70 million. With inflation, that's $337 million.
That's bananas.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So what are we doing? We should just make a horror movie.
Well, dude, like I think we did talk about this. I don't know if it was recorded or not, but yeah, fuck it, let's make a horror movie. But like everyone, like I feel like that's why there's so much in the horror genre that like there's a lot of fucking great horror movies. Like I feel like I've been hard on it as a genre somewhat, but like there's some fantastic horror movies from today, from then, from all the times in between. There's also kind of a lot of movies that suck. And I think it's probably because people say, well, shit, like, look, we can make it for so little. If it happens to take off, if we capture that lightning in a bottle, we'll be rich, Yeah,
we just have to be the lightning in the bottle. Yeah, we just have to be.
That's right, of course.
Yeah, we just have to make the next Terrifier, the next Paranormal Activity, whatever.
Right, exactly. Okay, yeah, I forgot that we decide to make it good. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But all jokes aside, it is kind of crazy it did so well. I think maybe this did change like the landscape of like like horror movies can do well at a movie theater. I think this was like one of the most successful ones.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Because definitely 2 years later, I think 80 or 81 was Friday the 13th, which feels very much like a play. And like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. When was that? That was this era.
I think it's actually before this, maybe, if I had to guess.
I would guess after.
Right.
You think it's after? Let's all make bets, guys.
Oh,
I think it might be before.
Yeah, Chuck is right.
74? Yeah, because I remember when this first came out, people were like losing their minds. There was like Satanic Panic and all that stuff.
Yeah, and the interesting thing I've heard about.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Oh, that comment you made was for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, yeah. No, people were like, oh, it's like the end of like there's Satanists running around and they're allowed to make movies now, blah blah blah, stuff like that.
Damn.
To that point, and you said something, Chuck, that made me think of this. Something I've heard about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre specifically that's really, I think it's sort of interesting, is that apparently, we could, I guess, confirm this, but it didn't do all that well in theaters, but it did incredibly on, like, VHS. And what made me think of that was you saying, Chuck, that this was like one of the first horror movies that did really well in theaters. Because what a lot of people attribute like the good video sales, but not the good movie ticket sales, to the fact that some people were kind of embarrassed almost to like go and see this shit. That it's like, what does that say about a person? It doesn't say anything. I'm not saying any judgment at all. But maybe people, the sort of these prudish sensibilities of like, I'm gonna go and watch people being murdered. Like, what is that okay? Like, am I allowed to go and see this? But in the privacy of your own home, no one knows what you rented, or no one knows what the video you bought. So anyway, sort of interesting, like maybe the normalization or like the horror sort of becoming mainstream with Halloween.
And I feel like Halloween kind of takes advantage of like the teenage cast, because I feel like then teenagers are more willing to watch it, I guess. Like I bet teenage boys were like, "Oh my god, Jamie Lee Curtis is in this! I can't wait to watch this one."
Yeah, this introduced her,
this
right?
Is like her, right.
This is her first movie, yeah. Well, no, I bet they like saw a picture of her on the poster. They're like, "Dude, she's a smoke show."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe right.
But no, yeah, I think the teenage cast does like kind of play a big role in that, just in the fact that like I feel like you can kind of put yourself in that situation in a weird way, and it does feel kind like, for me, horror is always feels kind of good when you can relate to the characters and you can get that like sense of thrill and fear, because you're like, ooh, this could happen to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Michael might be in my closet.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. There's also, though, this is a little bit of a left turn, so you guys can bring me back if this is.
No, go ahead.
You want to talk about something else, but there's something kind of like I think probably people have sort of talked about the subtext to this movie, right?
Yeah.
Like particular, like there's this like, and I heard about kind of, is it about this sort of repressed sexual urge from Michael, because like he's killing, like, I wouldn't even call the teenagers promiscuous necessarily, but just teenagers, teenage couples, and the first person he kills is his sister after she's just like, been with her boyfriend or whatever. And I don't, can talk about that, but the thing I sort of found interesting too was like, not only is this movie focused on teenagers, there's like no fucking adults, and the adults that are in the movie are like
insane
really
people.
not, except for like, what's that?
Insane people. Like,
yeah, right. It's Michael, or it's like the doctor who spends most of the movie just standing in front of the wrong house. The sheriff, who's also one of their dads, who over the course of the movie doesn't even know his daughter's been killed. Like, he's like sort of a non-player. All the parents of all these kids are nowhere to be found. And I think what really made me start thinking about this was after Laurie is attacked by Michael and she runs outside screaming for help, no one fucking comes. And in fact, I think this is important, that she runs up to someone's door. It says a teenage girl screaming, "Help, help, help." Someone peers out their window and turns off the light and goes back to bed. Like, there's this element of almost like going into what I sort of knew there'd be this element of like sort of preying on, I almost feel like suburban fear of like crime and stuff. But I think there's also this statement on like how I don't know, like how hands off we are.
Like society like turning its eye away from like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And like just no one comes to help her except literally one guy who in the whole movie we know he was the only one who was saying Michael was dangerous. The parents never come rushing home. No one, like, there's that, like I said, there's specifically that one scene where someone turns away. It's just like really callous and sort of dark, and like, I don't know, that feels purposeful to me.
No, I definitely think so too. Because that's like a pretty important scene, because like it would be a huge plot hole if like all those houses, like no one would be home, but there are people there who just don't care enough.
And I think it also comes with like them be like maybe like a commentary on like older people not really listening to younger, or to just like brush them off. Like another example would be like when the sheriff is like, "Oh, it was probably just some kids who came in and robbed the place."
Yeah, like brushing it aside.
Yeah, like I feel like that was also on purpose to say like, oh, it was some kids. Like he could have just said, oh, someone came and robbed it, but his assumption is automatically
Yeah.
kids doing it.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Like you could, I guess, almost imagine like not to try to make it too concrete but someone hearing a girl screaming on Halloween night, help me, is everyone rolling their eyes and thinking it's a prank or it's whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
also
it's
another point of it too.
scary in its own right. Yeah, well, that's again another bit of a left turn, but like that's the funny thing too about Michael. The fact it takes place on Halloween is that he is sort of free to walk the streets. Like there's a couple scenes where he's like walking out on the street and people are trick or treating and no one looks twice.
Yeah.
Because he's just a dude in a mask. It's sort of a funny. I know that's the point, but it sort of hadn't occurred to me before that, and it is kind of a clever idea and again sort of scary. Anyway.
Yeah.
Something else that I really enjoy, and kind of going back to what you said, Dan, about like kind of it being like a sexual like thing for Michael, is when he kills the boyfriend, when he stabs him against the wall, he kind of looks at it like he tilts his head, and a lot of people say like, oh yeah, that's him like admiring his art, but I always took that as like a sexual thing.
Yeah, they do. I hadn't thought of that, but I did notice they do linger on that shot for a little bit.
Mhm.
Like it may be the like longest shot we have of like a dead body.
Oh yeah, definitely. If not that, or the scene right after where the multiple dead characters in the room, and like he drags the tombstone, which is ridiculous. That is honestly ridiculous. Even though you're supposed to like subvert your expectations a lot, even though it's a horror movie, the fact that he drags that shit all the way to like, I can't even imagine it.
Yeah, and no one noticed that. Like, I guess he put it in the back of his station wagon.
It's also like he had to carry that shit up the stairs. Like those are fucking heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of questions. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, there's like that's not my biggest criticism, but like there is this element to this movie that's a little bit like not just the practical, like okay, how the fuck did he get this up the stairs, but also like what is that? Like what does that mean? Like I get it, like it's like he's sort of going through and killing his sister again, but like
I think there's a big theory that like he's recreating the night, because on one timeline he like after he does all this, he goes outside and he surrenders himself again. But I don't buy into that either.
But here's the thing. Yeah, because I think you're right in that I think we are meant to interpret it as he's reliving that night. And the doctor almost says as much. He says he's gonna come back to his house. But I guess what I mean where it's like, what is that is he doesn't relive the night though. Like not to get too nitpicky, like he kills 3 teenagers. It's like it's sort of the only thing and it's in a different house. The only thing that really is similar is that it's a teenage girl and it's on Halloween. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of a loose, like he puts up that tombstone and it's like, oh my god, it's like his sister. But like, is it like his sister?
Yeah.
Like almost every element of it is like different.
Yeah. And then there's also one other timeline where Laurie is his baby sister.
His baby sister?
Yeah, like there's a sister that they didn't show in the beginning, and that's why he targets Laurie.
Okay.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb, but
it's supposed to be the other sister.
Yeah, that we never see in the first one.
You're calling these timelines. What is that? Is there movies that are like reboots?
There's 3 timelines of Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very complicated. And the worst timeline is the worst timeline is definitely Rat Zombies.
I see. Is that the one with the baby sister?
No, that's not even the one with the baby sister. Like the baby sister, I think is like the most original timeline. Like that's like the first one that came out.
Oh, like not the original timeline, but the next. After the initial.
Yeah. It also like even getting more into the lore, Halloween 3 is not even technically a Halloween movie. Like Michael Myers is not even in Halloween 3.
Does it take place on Halloween?
It does. Like the idea of
least-
Halloween
okay.
it was supposed to be like an anthology movie series. Like there were supposed to be weird things that happened.
Okay.
It was that would have been way more interesting than the shit we got later.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Um,
But that one did so bad
What's-
that they were like, no, fuck, we have to bring back Michael Myers.
yeah. What was? Do you know what was 3 about? It was
It was like the season of the witch. I don't remember watching it. I must have watched it like a long time ago. I didn't even read the plot synopsis because I was truly like I did not care.
Yeah, that's fine. I know the most recent, like they've made 2 or 3 now that are like, yeah,
Yes.
I've heard that it's kind of a different timeline where it's like an immediate sequel to the original, and like
Exactly.
none of the others happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And people praise that one, but that one's also shit. So,
Oh, okay. Like I'd heard, I've never seen them, but I had heard that people liked them.
Yeah,
but
I think
maybe we're just starved for.
I think that mostly. I think people are just starved for that kind of like horror. Yeah, but to be honest, for me, like slashers are only good at once. I think the very first of a slasher movie is always the best one. Like there really isn't a reason to make more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I wonder if like because of this movie, I wouldn't call it a cliffhanger that it ends on exactly. Like I think this movie could have just been a one and done, and it's left on this really unsettling note where they don't know where he went.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the intention was for it to be sequel bait, or if it was just meant to be an unsettling ending. You know what I'm saying?
I think it was like it was both. It was like, oh, if we can make we can make a sequel if we want to. If this does bomb, hey, at least it's a great cliffhanger.
Yeah,
and that's what movies do now too. That's like the whole that's what a lot of movies do now. They're like, oh, we'll just leave a left cliffhanger, and then if we did it well enough, we'll just make a sequel or remake 10 years later.
Yeah, you're right. I fucking hate cliffhangers when they're done poorly. Like
I agree.
have a pretty low
I agree.
tolerance for
Yeah.
cliffhangers, I think.
Yeah, this is a great cliffhanger though.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing I like, that it can stand on its own.
Mhm.
It's sort of why I posed the question, because it's like it's not satisfying in the sense that you don't know what happened, but that's kind of the point, right? Like
Mhm.
he's this presence, like it's just he could be anywhere. It could be back in the house, it could be, whatever. And those final shots of it just kind of not even cutting to different homes and to different streets, and you just hear his breathing. A little bit cheesy, but really effective. Like I like that ending. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So it can be done. It can be done right. Sort of a bit of a cliffhanger. I think could be done well. But some people just milk it. Like don't like cut my story in half.
No, I agree with that. All right.
Yeah.
Last big positive I have to give is just the score. The score was amazing, and it's like so iconic.
Iconic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it stood like the test of time. Like kids still get scared of that stupid like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, the piano.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. It was funny. I watched this with my wife, and we were sitting there, and just as it started, she said, "Is this the one that goes do 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 do
Yeah.
do?" I was like, yes, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a great theme, man. Like it's
Yeah.
so simple, but it is really good. It's like that's a classic.
Yeah, that's kind of funny that you say that because the theme is kind of bigger than the movie now.
Right? Yeah. Isn't that for like neither of us had seen this? I don't even know. I think she knew it was Michael Myers, like as
Mhm.
opposed to Jason or anybody else. Like, but it wasn't even that level of familiarity where it's like, which one is this? Is this the one with Jamie Lee Curtis? Whatever. But that theme, we know that.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, do you want to get into negatives?
Well, I have one more positive as well.
Okay.
That we've sort of talked about, but I want to specifically call it out. Some fantastic. I don't have the right vocabulary, but great like shots of Michael stalking people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they do a great job with that.
Yeah, because it's all like I love the scene where it's after Tommy, who's the little boy.
Mhm.
He's like bullied and falls over with his pumpkin or whatever, and he's walking like through the schoolyard, behind the fence, and Michael Myers is right in front of the camera, sort of out of focus, and we're just sort of following the both of them, without the boy knowing he's being watched. And it's kind of this long, it's not incredibly long, and it's a really simple movement. It's not complicated. But I just love like a shot with some depth. I love how unsettling it is. So much, this movie gets so much mileage out of the feeling of being watched, right? Like that's kind of what this movie is about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is someone there? Is someone behind that bush? Is someone, right behind me? And before we get into negatives, I think we all agree that's sort of that's really what this movie does so well. It's just that sense of being stalked.
Yeah.
Which is really well done.
Being followed.
Yeah.
Or Brennan's creepy voices.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing.
That's truly the scariest thing. All right. Do you have any? Do you have any things that you really liked about this movie, or no?
Who?
You, dude. Yeah.
Oh.
You.
I don't know, because I've just been like saying the things that I've liked.
Very cool.
But yeah, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned it through our discussions what I did like.
Yeah. I think we're going into negatives, so we wanted to make sure we weren't.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I can start with the negative.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I would say my negative is like because I guess for some people they could be like, oh, this is a positive, but like for me, the low budget kind of gets to me sometimes, but not in like, because like what we just talked about, like the sense of following and like the camera shots, I like that, but for some reason it's like the actors, like there were some scenes where it's like their reaction felt delayed.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Some of the actors
You
are
know what
so
I'm talking?
bad.
Yeah, because I don't know how to really. Yeah, I don't know how to
It was
explain this part.
like bad performances, like mostly.
Yeah, so it's like that plus. Yeah, so but I'm like putting that under the low budget umbrella, but yeah, that's my like negative.
I agree completely too, and yeah, it's all like I feel like the friends. Jamie Lee Curtis is good, of course. She's had this long career now, but like I feel like all the other friends, everything they said sounded like, "Hey, what's the big idea? What do you think you're doing, pal?" Like everything was just really like high school play.
Let me at him.
Right, Paul, is that you? Is this one of your pranks, Paul? Like,
Yeah.
okay. Good job. No notes. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
I also thought Laurie was good. Like the original, not Laurie, his sister.
Oh, in the beginning?
Yeah.
His sister at the very beginning?
Yeah, I thought his sister's performance was good. Like, she was like, she sold her death really well. Like, Michael, get out of here.
Are you joking?
What? I actually thought that was pretty good.
Okay, I thought
for the rest of the actresses and actors, are you serious?
I mean, if we're grading on a curve, I mean it's fine.
Yeah, we are grading on a curve. Yeah, we have to grade. Like,
okay,
all the other ones are so bad. The main doctor, probably the worst actor.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so.
He's so cheesy, man. It's so like we have unleashed the devil on the streets.
Like, that leads into one of my negatives, which we won't have to jump to. But like some of the writing.
Oh, the writing is so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's not only so much you can do with. Yeah, I saw evil behind his eyes for 8 years.
Yeah,
like, okay,
only blackness.
What is that? Right.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like Laura, like the sister, wasn't that bad because you're like, oh, okay, like she screamed. Wow, that was so good.
I honestly, like, I don't want to just be picking on these people. I don't even know. I'm sure she's lovely if she's alive. But dude, like, there was a second where I was like, is she dead? Like,
really?
Is the sister dead? Because she literally went like, oh no, oh, and just like, oh, all right, like, I guess she's dead. I felt like it was a little bit under. Maybe I'm misremembering. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
and never.
Michael, get out of here! No,
Michael, get out of here! Stop looking at my boobs, you pervert.
Yeah,
He doesn't
she's
say all.
naked. She's like, hey,
Hey, relax.
So we're
you're
joking
my
about it. And it is
brother.
silly, but that is a great reveal that it's her little brother. Like, and I know that it's iconic for a reason, but like the fact that okay, he's like, how the fuck is this guy in the house? The boyfriend walks right by him. You're like, how the fuck does he not notice? Like, that is a great, ultimately, I think a really good reveal.
Yeah.
I agree with that too. Michael, get out of here! What the frick?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell mom and dad.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell
You
I'm dad
stabbed
on you,
me.
Michael. Stop.
Hold on, I'm watching the opening of the movie again.
Oh,
You can keep
jeez.
talking. I've got to because it's like I feel like I'm going crazy.
But yeah, performances aside, writing aside, overall it's a pretty good movie though. Like, especially for its time and budget, like I think it's pretty top tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, I have my criticisms that I haven't like even gotten to yet. That like a lot of criticisms, but like this is an iconic movie. This is a really in a lot of ways genuinely, I feel like a really well put together movie and kind of like required viewing. Certainly, if anyone's a horror fan, and even if
Oh yeah, I think
you're
you
a
have to
fan of
watch. Yeah, you have to watch this at least once
Yeah.
if you're interested in horror.
Yeah, and even just like really stripped down thrillers, like just really how to like really effectively build tension with just through filmmaking. You know, like for so long, very little happens.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things great about this movie. But clearly it's got some shortcomings, and some of them are budget, you know, like we've talked about, but some of them, like, I guess I'll get sort of into mine if that's okay. My main criticism.
Go for it.
As like tight as this movie is in a lot of ways, like really, like I keep using the phrase like stripped down, and you know it's very focused. There's also some like bloating, not because it's too long, but just like the doctor that we keep talking about, like does not play any function.
No,
like
he's not important at all.
Yeah, like why does the doctor character fucking exist? Like for basically the whole movie, he's standing in front of the wrong house. He is kind of our exposition machine, but the exposition sucks. You know, like maybe I'm too hard on it because it's like we all know who Michael Myers is, so I don't need it explained to me. But it's got such like a show don't tell problem. Where like, Doc, like don't fucking talk to me or talk to the sheriff about how you saw evil behind his eyes or whatever the fuck. Like I'm watching this dude stalk teenagers. Like I know he's evil. And in fact, it almost weakens the reveal of like, okay, this dude's like like something's going on with this guy. Like he's like almost immortal, like that you've been talking about. Like, let me discover that he's evil incarnate or whatever. Don't tell me.
I think they do a bad job of like building him up because I feel like they build them up too fast.
Yeah, and they just build him up. They build him up through exposition as we're watching him act really creepy. Like it's just not necessary. Like it's just sort of I don't know why it exists. And then ultimately, like the doctor serves the function of shooting Michael, which sucks. Like Laurie should have been able to fight him off. I don't mean like physically, like she was weak, but just like it's not very satisfying.
To be the one, yeah.
Yeah, like we're watching this girl like, you know, scramble for her life. We see her do some like pretty resourceful, get away from him pretty resourcefully. She protects the little kids. Like, gets some good. Like she would have killed him if he was a normal guy twice. And then it all comes down to like this random character that has served no purpose busting in at the right moment and shooting him. It's just stupid.
You idiots! You do not know what you've done. You've let him out on the street.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm mad that you guys don't think he's like, the worst character because he honestly is the worst character.
You're talking about the worst the worst actor?
Yeah, the worst actor and worst character.
He is the worst character. I agree with you there. 100%.
Yeah.
It's just like he serves no purpose. It's honestly was so frustrating watching because like everything, even the like his first scene, which I like, where they go to like the asylum and all like
he should have died there.
Well, I was even going to take it a step further that despite the fact that I like that scene and I do think it's scary, and it's sort of cool on its own, they didn't need it. like they could have just as easily, it would have been just as effective and answered just as many questions if at the beginning of the movie the morning news is on and it's, last night it was discovered that 30 inmates escaped from Lakeside Mental Institution. Police have gathered, whatever. Like, just, I don't need a whole dedicated scene, the introduction of a character, a doctor, to explain to me that this dude is dangerous. I know he's dangerous. Like, it's just.
I will say
there's
I did like the scene with all the like patients on the field, like when it's raining. I thought that was a really cool shot.
I also really like it. I genuinely do. I agree with you. When I that's exactly the moment I was thinking of. I also think when Michael, who we ultimately learn is Michael, crawls up on the car.
Yeah, that's an awesome scene.
Yeah. There's that scene on its own is pretty awesome. And it's like genuinely scary and really kind of unique in that, it's like it is this scene of heavy exposition, but then we're kind of, the rug's pulled out from under us. It's a great scene. But it's just not necessary. And like, you've heard the expression "kill your darlings." Have you ever heard that before?
No.
It's something people talk about with writing specifically, but it probably has other applications where it's advice people give, or like, don't be seduced by your own great writing. Like, you might have some passage or some scene, something you've written that you're like, this is so great. I have to do everything I can to keep it in, even if it's at the detriment of the larger story. So the advice is kill your darlings. Don't get obsessed with one piece. If you recognize you need to edit something out, just do it. And I feel like this was a little bit that. I don't know if Carpenter and Hill loved this scene and we're like, we need to keep it in, but as an audience member, it's like, yeah, I love it, but it's just like, what it doesn't really, it accomplishes something that could be accomplished by, like I said, a morning news cut in, right? Like, and maybe be in a way a little more foreboding, or like, a little, certainly less expository.
Yeah, I agree with that mostly. Yeah, but I feel like the movie's already so short. I feel like they kind of had to add that scene for the. Yeah, like if it was like 2 hours long, I would 100% agree. But like, it's already so short.
You're right, and that's the weird thing, is that it's not like it's a pacing issue, and it's not certainly not a length issue. Yeah, so I mean, what is this? It's like a cool 90 minutes, right? I mean, it's a pretty short movie. And it's not that I think it drags, but I don't know. I guess it's just more of like a structural critique. Like, it's just, there's like, the doctor character does not need to exist. Really, the sheriff doesn't need to exist. Like, even the concept of him returning to his house is sort of like, because he doesn't go back to his house. Like, we never see him. Or yeah, we see him at his house once.
Yeah, and this is gonna sound so dumb just me talking about it, but like, his house is very important in like the lore. Like, he does like take refuge in his house a lot during all the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, I can understand the concept, and but I guess my point is just like, if you're going to include an element to your story, it should have a purpose. And like, I can imagine all the ways in which the house is important. The house seems important. I'm not really advocating that the house like doesn't exist, because there needs to also be a reason he goes back. Like, it wouldn't make sense without his house. But like, we see him there once at the beginning of the movie, and then we see that he was there and he like killed a dog or something, which is scary. That's a pretty good scene too.
He kills and eats the dog.
Then he's right.
Yeah.
Which, that's a great bit of sort of like off, outside of frame horror of just like, they're like, what the fuck is that? And it's, he ate a dog. Anyway,
Scooby, not Scooby.
Yeah, please, no. I don't know. It's just like, maybe they could have taken time away from the doctor to explore to show him in the house a little more or something. I don't know. It felt like there were some elements to the story that could have been just like, some things could have been cut, some things could have expanded upon. But I ultimately agree. Yeah, it's like, I don't really know what those things would be, because if you cut the doctor, you'd be left with like, a 65-minute movie or something, and you can't have that. So I don't really know what I would do.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think the big thing with the doctor is he's literally just an exposition machine. But it would just be cool if he was like a doctor. Dude, I'd rather have the movie where it was 60 minutes and then 30 minutes at the end was a doctor explaining his backstory. I feel like that would have been cooler.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I do agree that it's like, okay, yeah, we're setting all this time aside for you telling me how scary he is. That's like the worst. Like, this is a fantastic example of a horror movie, but like, the worst fucking possible thing you can do is explain to me why I should be scared. That's like isn't that obvious? Like that's crazy. And that's what the Doctor does. It's just silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a goofball in that aspect. He's
Yeah.
just silly.
Yeah.
He's just a
Real goober. That
yeah. He's
Doctor.
just a really silly goose for that one. I was gonna say I kind of said all my negatives. I'm kind of negative doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am too.
Okay,
Mhm.
I'll give this a 9 out of 10.
Oh,
Wow.
respect. I give it an 8.
Okay,
I think I'll give it an 8 as well.
respect. Cool. So yeah, I was gonna.
It is iconic.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like you have to just give it points because like it fucking inspires a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird movie in that way.
Yeah. And when it does well, it really does. Like none of us were joking when it was like, if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of like stripped down thrillers, if you're a fan, like this is just we can all learn a lot from this movie, I think, really.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with that too.
Iconic.
Iconic. I was gonna say before we even talk about what we've watched, I did want to talk about one thing. I don't know if you guys heard about Megalopolis. I don't even know if I'm saying this right.
Oh yeah, and
I've heard of it, right?
by The Godfather.
It's oh, yeah, is that right?
Yeah, it's by Francis Ford Coppola. Coppola? Coppola.
Yeah, I think Gabagool?
And it's bad,
Gabagool?
right? It's like really bad.
Yeah, it's like a box office flop, but this is like his dream project that he's been working on for like the past 20 years.
20 years.
It's something crazy. Like he's been working on this for a long time, and it's with like Adam Driver. It has like a star-studded cast, but it just did not do well. And I don't know if we talked about this, but with some of the trailers for the movie, they had like reviews of his older films, like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and in those reviews, it's like they're all negative reviews, they're like about The Godfather, like oh yeah, this is a cheap imitation of even worse movie. Yeah, and then they started using negative reviews that they got from Cannes. So the idea is like, oh well, well, sorry, I'm losing my mind.
People didn't like some of the greatest movies of all time.
Exactly.
So if they don't like this movie, they just they don't get it, whatever.
Yeah, I lost my sense of thought there. But yeah, exactly. And he was just, basically the idea is like he was very like they needed to spin how bad they were getting press. And I've heard some things about the movie, and I feel like this might be like a so bad it's good.
Really? Wow. That's a very unique. That's a hard place to hit,
Yeah, no, but it looks like it. Like if you look at some like screenshots from the movie, it looks ridiculous. Like I can't wait to watch it. And I also heard that you have to watch it in theaters. That's the only problem.
Oh,
damn.
well, it's in theaters now. It's playing by me. It's supposed to be playing by you guys.
It is playing by us, but the other problem is that there's like no one in theaters watching it. So if you go watch it, you're probably gonna be the only one in the theater. I think this is a movie where you need to watch it in a group.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah,
I can't wait to watch it though. That's just my opinion.
I don't know about
that.
that.
I mean, no, Brendan, you don't like it so bad it's good? You don't like that particular flavor?
No, unless it's like remember those spoof movies? Like Scary Movie and stuff like that?
No, okay, that's okay, you're wrong.
I like that. I don't like, oh, they actually attempting to be good, but it's so bad, but now it's good because it's so bad. I'd rather.
What do you mean? That's literally that's the best part.
Nah.
Because it's so embarrassing that they tried to be so good. I rather watch something that like they didn't attempt. Like I hate watching movies where they're pretending to be bad and it's just bad.
No,
yeah, I hate that too.
Like them try, it's embarrassingly bad that it's good. It's just like it's the movie is just shit, but it's good because it's embarrassingly bad. Those I just don't like.
Ah, dude, I disagree, man.
I'll say I'm also not I'm also not like the biggest fan of like it's so bad it's good. Like I sort of like I'm kind of with you, Brendan. Like sometimes I don't really get it, but the movies that are trying to be so bad it's good, you know what I mean? Like are trying to be ridiculous. They're the worst of all.
Yeah.
Like, that's I can't stand that. Like just give it. I don't know. Just go for it, you know. And if you fall on the side of like the fucking room, you know, like at least you tried.
Yeah.
Don't be so cynical that you're like trying to be the room or something. Just give your best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't pretend to be something you're not. Like if you think you're gonna be good, try to be good, and if you're shit, then we'll laugh at you later.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to laugh with us.
But
You know,
I don't know.
like we're
Spoof
all,
movies
it's
are
all
funny.
friendly.
They can be
Dude,
very funny.
spoof movies have gotten so bad, man. There
Maybe
hasn't been
now,
a-
but
I also
there hasn't been a good spoof movie in like maybe like 10 years, dude.
okay, I can agree with that. But
I think those are also different though, right? Like scary movies not trying to be so bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
just, like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
It's
it
just
is
a
what it
dumb
is.
parody.
yeah,
It doesn't take itself
Yeah.
seriously.
exactly.
No, but bad take, dude. Bad take. I hard disagree, man.
Mm-mm.
What is your favorite It's So Bad It's Good movie, Chuck? Do you have a long list?
Other than The Room.
I do love The Room. I don't think there's more.
That's the only one I've seen.
It's probably
What-
just The Room, man. Or like
What
I like
about-
I like Samurai Cop a lot. Samurai Cop hilarious.
What about that other shit that you like? The Freddy Got Fingered.
We watched Freddy Got
Oh.
Fingered. I love
Yeah,
Freddy Got Fingered.
I hated that, but that
You
falls
loved
under
it?
this, right?
Oh yeah, it was.
No, but Freddy Got Fingered was trying to be bad.
Yeah, that means it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying I like The Room way more because the guy was so delusional and thinking he was making art.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Whereas
well,
Freddy, or what is it?
I guess I
It's
can
not
agree
Freddy,
with Chuck if Rock Monster counts as this type of movie.
Yes, exactly. Rock Monster is literally that kind of movie where they were trying to make a good movie, but it ended up being so shit that it was funny.
Okay, yeah, that one was funny. I'll
Okay,
give you
yeah.
that.
Okay, but yeah, yeah,
We've come full circle.
yeah. We're talking about the same thing here, dude. I was gonna say, yeah. Let's just wrap things up along and talk about things we saw this weekend or this week. So
You guys saw The Substance, right?
yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say we were very hype about The Substance. I loved it. I think it was
Did live up
perfect.
to it?
It was instant classic for me.
Oh,
Seriously,
wow.
if you get a chance to watch it, Dan, I would highly recommend watching it in a theater because, like, if you get a good crowd, you will have a blast.
Yeah, I also really loved it.
It's still we'll see. Hopefully I can. It's still playing by me,
Nice.
but yeah, we'll see if it's still playing. I've kind of a busy couple weeks, but yeah, I'd like to see it. I mean, that's high praise.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was so good.
Mm.
And Brandon doesn't like anything.
Cool.
No,
I could tell.
that was really good.
But yeah, I didn't watch anything else. I think I just been having a pretty quiet week.
Harry
I
Potter.
feel that.
Oh yeah, and the first Harry Potter. Forgot about that. But it's still good.
Oh, you watched it? Okay.
No, only the first
Yeah,
one.
the first one's good. I
like the first one a lot.
Yeah, I love it.
I like the third one a lot. Prisoner of Azkaban.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, so that was good too. You just said only the first one's good.
I was just joking, dude. I was being ironic, dude.
Ironical.
I was just being ironic, bro. Come on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't see through the veil.
Yeah, 3 is fantastic.
Alfonso Cuarón, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like 3 is like the most of like a legit movie. That's a weird thing to say. I just feel like 3 like holds up even if it wasn't Harry Potter, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, even though the time thing is pretty fucking stupid in hindsight, but
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, it's not.
Why don't they ever bring it
Oh.
up again, dude? Oh,
Because
don't even.
Dumbledore gets rid of it. It's too
I
powerful.
was also arguing about with these guys about Quidditch the entire time. Quidditch is the dumbest game ever.
Yeah, it's just the snitch. Like that's
Yeah,
all that
oh my god,
matters,
thank
right?
you. I described it like this. Imagine you're watching a basketball game and it's 4v4 and then you have two random guys outside catching a rat. Like chasing a rat, then whoever
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it
yeah,
is.
and
Right.
whoever catches
It's
the rat first wins the game. But these four people playing basketball doesn't even matter.
well, it's really it's to even put a finer point on it. It's they're playing basketball and it's a normal game of basketball, and then everyone, then an alert goes off and says, "Oh my God, Steph Curry caught the rat, and it's worth 1,000 points." So do they win? Oh yeah, of course they do, because it's 1,000 fucking points. Like, because isn't like the snitch gives like an absurd amount of points, right? Like
Yeah, it's
that's the thing.
150 points. It
Yeah.
makes no fucking sense. And the game doesn't end until the snitch is caught.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
it's
didn't know.
it's a
That's
dumb
why I was
sport.
against Chuck. But once, like they read out the rules, then it was like, okay, that is stupid. She should have thought of like, yeah, if you get the snitch, that gives you, but then like that gives you a lot of points. But
I mean,
the other team, if they're doing
not to
well, like
argue.
there should be equal. Like it should matter what everyone else is watching, not just
Right.
the snitch.
Yeah, I will say though, not to like argue against myself, but like the thing is like it wasn't written to be a sport, right? It was just written as another vehicle to prove how special Harry is. That's it. Like it's a sport that's written to be like, oh, what's this thing that this kid's really good at and that he's the star of, and like it doesn't nothing else matters. Like it's written that's just always he's going to be at the center of it. So it's like I feel like it wasn't written to make sense. It was just written to because Harry's a special boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dan, what did you watch? Sorry, we took a lot of time away from you.
No, I love it. You're gonna be excited. I finally watched Synecdoche, New York.
Did you like the warehouse?
But I think you will.
Yeah.
Did
he
you like the
screamed
warehouse?
So
And so-
loud that.
Yeah, we heard like a ghost in the distance.
Yeah. It was a sonic
You guys-
boom.
Did you like the warehouse inside the warehouse? Inside of another warehouse?
Inside the warehouse. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, man, that movie. Have you seen it, Brendan?
Yeah, I saw it with Chuck.
Oh yeah. It's bananas, man. It's I don't even know where we began. I mean, we could probably have a whole other episode just talking about it. But yeah, I really liked it. I think I gave it like a 9 on Letterboxd. It's not quite perfect for me, but yeah, I like so many layers to pull back. Like I feel like it's actually the interesting thing about it is I feel like what it ultimately is talking about is like pretty simple. It's just like explored in a really sort of bizarre way and a really thorough way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's about life and death and getting sad and old.
Yeah, and I feel like it's about like where like it's not just about like how do I put this? Like there's like I feel like this really cliche question of like what's the meaning of life? And this movie's not quite about that. It's about like what is it? Not what does it matter, but like it's about grappling with that question. And
Yeah.
it's about like recognizing, yeah. I mean, it's just like it's really like bizarre and it's bizarre in a lot of ways. But yeah, really great movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it, Dan.
I did not really know. Yeah, I didn't know much about it, so I was like really shocked when it starts going off the rails. But
I love when Catherine Keener's character is one of my favorite.
who's that?
His wife.
Oh, Adele.
Yeah, Adele. I love
Right,
I
the
love it.
artist, yeah.
Yeah, I love Adele. It sounds so random
She's
saying
like
that.
not in the movie that long.
When she is
Yeah.
in the movie, I don't know. I always feel like when like I don't know. She makes me sad in a good way. Like she says like a perfect asshole.
Yeah, it is a real. I mean, that's even sort of before the movie takes off, and it is. Yeah, immediately you get a sense of like that they just like are not speaking the same language. You know,
Mhm.
like it's just like I think of them in the car after he's got all these health problems, but it's like his first health problem, and
She like kind of just
he's like,
brushes
the
aside.
doctor said. Well, so yeah, sort of, but in a specific way where it's like she brushes aside his concern, but still has to correct the fact that he says, The doctor says my pupils aren't opening and closing. She's like, dilated. He's like, he said opening closing. He means dilated. And it's like, okay, we're not talking about my health problem. We're talking about that I'm not using the right word. It's just like, anyway, very like sort of frustrating. But you get it. You know, it's just like it's a minor thing. It's not a big deal. But they're just sort of talking past each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. So good.
When was the last time you saw it? Have you seen it recently?
I saw it maybe a year ago. I have to watch it again. Maybe I
Was that
should
the
do
first time you saw it a year ago?
No, I saw it maybe 3 years ago. It was a COVID movie for sure.
Oh.
Which
For
probably
sure.
wasn't the
Yeah.
best for my mental health, to be honest.
No, we
Yeah.
were all trapped inside a world, inside a world, inside a world then.
Yeah,
With
exactly.
our
I was like, man, maybe
everything.
this isn't good for me, bruh. And
Maybe I should stop watching this.
yeah, maybe I should like worry about something else, bruh. But yeah, I'm glad you watched The Night in New York. That's fucking awesome. It's my
Mhm.
favorites. What else did you see? Anything else, Daniel?
No movies, but I started. I have not finished it. I'm only a couple in to the Scott Pilgrim show.
Oh,
The
nice.
Scott Pilgrim anime.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I see now what everyone means, like that it's very different.
Oh, nice.
Don't necessarily want to give anything away, but yeah, I'm liking it. You've seen it, right? Both of you or one of you?
I've seen it.
Not the
Brendan
show.
would
I
never
haven't
watch
seen
it.
I love the movie,
Okay,
but
so I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't spoil anything. I'd encourage you to watch it. It's not very long. It's like 8 half-hour episodes.
Mhm.
But in watching it initially, I was kind of like, I don't really get why this was made, because like it's very, very, very close to the movie. Like
Mhm.
a lot of this, like exact same jokes, exact same visuals, other than the fact it's animated. But then it becomes clear that they're doing something a little different, which is cool. I think that was the right choice.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. But yeah, I
Okay.
was gonna say, do we want to talk about what Brandon's gonna recommend for Halloween, spooky season?
Okay, so 2 horror movies that I've always wanted to watch, I haven't watched, so you guys can choose. It's
Okay.
Rosemary's Baby and The Wicker Man.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
The Wicker Man.
Oh
Huh?
no, he's not talking. I don't think he's talking about the Nick Cage one.
No,
Oh, there's another
1973.
one.
The original.
Oh,
the
okay.
original Wicker Man.
Oh, we're doing like a 70s Halloween and then Rosemary's Baby or a 70s Wicker Man. Interesting.
Yeah. What's the Nick Cage one called?
The Wicker Man, right?
No, I think it's. Oh yeah, it is literally called the Wicker Man 2. Yeah. Okay, we have to differentiate that when we recommend this one, because the original Wicker Man is way better. I'm down to
Or
watch the
we can
Wicker
do
Man.
or we can do like a newer movie, but I've always been meaning to watch these two.
No, I mean it's your pick. So yeah, I mean we could, if we wanted to go crazy, we could watch both Wicker Mans.
Oh my god.
Well,
Or is that too much? I haven't seen either. I didn't even.
Another
I'll
one is
be-
I Saw the TV Glow. That's like new. That's 2024.
I
if you guys have
saw
heard
the
of that.
TV. No, I have not seen that. Oh, I think I've heard about this. This is like super divisive.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's like literally half are 5 stars and half are 1 stars. I love those are
Wow.
like the craziest movies.
Damn. Okay, yeah. So
No, but
you guys can
I mean,
choose.
to be honest, I've always wanted to watch The Wicker Man. I've seen Rosemary's Baby, and I love Rosemary's Baby. It's Roman Polanski, so I'm down to watch whatever. So Dan, whatever you want to pick, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
not my week.
But no, you pick out of what Brendan
Brendan's
said. Gosh.
We play this game. Brendan never picks a movie. Brendan always comes in and says, "Okay, look, guys, I've got 7 movies with like 6 sub movies.
I have 1 billion movies.
3, yeah, 3 of them are The Prince of Egypt, but you know,
Yeah, unless it's like a
Um,
movie from my top 20 where I'm like, all right, we're watching this one, guys, because I want you guys to see it.
right. Let's do The Wicker Man.
All right, cool.
Cool. So yeah, we're gonna watch The Wicker Man. Let me get the year right because we're not gonna recommend 1973.
Yeah.
Please God, do not watch 2006. We
No,
should text each other if we have enough time. If we finish at an appropriate time, like let each of us know if we saw the original, and if we have time, we can maybe do the double feature.
Okay, because it is on the shorter side, 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, how long is the second one?
The Wicker Man,
Because I think it's actually kind of long, if I remember.
1 hour
Oh
and
no!
gonna say,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same
42.
amount of time. Okay. Yeah, if we have time, we should definitely watch both. But I will say we should watch the first one first.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we at least get something good out of it.
Yeah.
I love how Dan's immediate reaction was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I literally didn't know. I didn't know there was an original. I mean, I barely know anything about the Nick Cage one.
Oh,
Just that
it's supposed to be
same as the
so bad. Yeah, it's supposed to be like one of the worst movies ever. So that's a big reason
That was
why I
like
want to
his
watch it.
era, right?
No, it was
You do or don't wanna watch
it was his era, but the other thing was it was just a horrible movie. Like even everyone
Well,
else was really bad too.
I was gonna say it was his era. I feel like that was maybe 2006. Just like a period. I know he does like tons of crazy stuff now,
Hmm.
but he does like sort of so wild stuff. There was like a period like late 2000s or 2010s or something, early 2010s where like he was just in so much shit that was just uninteresting shit. Like he was in Knowing and Bangkok Dangerous and all these movies that like no one even gives a shit about. Like they're not even fun.
That's true.
That's kind of where I put.
Yeah.
I feel like where I put Wicker Man, but we'll see.
Hmm. But yeah, if we have time, we should definitely watch both. But let's watch the first one for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to catch along, watch the first Wicker Man. If you're truly demented, you can try watching the second one as well. But it's a movie I don't want to recommend. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Check us out anywhere you can get a podcast. And yeah, this is Chuck.
This is Daniel.
This is Brendan.
Bye bye.